Hey everyone, it is Sunday and I'm back. Surprise! So I think that I got quite a bit done in the last few days. I'm sitting here looking at it on my table and it doesn't look like a lot, but I think I did quite a bit. Some of them are bigger than others and some are cuter than others, but I think I did pretty darn good. This started off with a pattern test from Stacy Makes. I tested her Betty the Cow pattern, and I ran into a little tiny snag. Nothing in her pattern. It was all me, and well, maybe Heather's fault a little bit. So this is what happened. I was at Heather's Live on Wednesday night, and I'm a moderator in there, in case any trolls come in. I just kind of like give them the boot, send them on their way. So I'm in the live, and I'm working on this pattern test. I'm to the point where I'm doing the body. I have the ears, the legs, the head, and all that kind of stuff is finished. So I'm working on the body. And every now and then, I'm working on the rounds, and I'd set it down, and I'd go over and I'd type in, make a comment, answer a question or whatever. And I get done, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going, there is something not right with this. I don't like this. So after the live is over, I've got my cow with the little spikes through its head to hold it on to the body, and I take a picture and I send it over to Heather, and I'm like, I don't like the spot. I can't really put my finger on it, but I don't like the spot. And she shows me a picture of hers that she was doing, and hers is in a different position than mine. So what I'm thinking has happened is in one of the many times that I sat it down to type into the comments, I got off track on my count. So the beginning of my round may have started sooner than it should have. But she's laughing at my cow and saying that the belly patch looks like something that it shouldn't look like. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I cannot unsee this. I had to frog it out and give my cow a bikini wax because it just wasn't right. So I took the whole body apart all the way down to the round where I attached the legs, where I could get a good, at least close beginning of my round. I can count from the legs how many stitches and find the new beginning of my round, or where it should be. So this is my cow after she had her bikini wax. I love the face on this thing. It's got an adorable face. So as you saw in the picture, if I remembered to put it up, this little patch was over here, and it just looked wrong. It needed a major wax job done. So I frogged it all out and redid the body from the leg round up. So in the pattern, you get directions, you can do it with the spots or you can do it plain without the spots. So I decided to use Michael's yarn, and this is sand. This is obviously white, and this is one of those variegated colors. It's got a little black-white mix in it. I did do one thing I wasn't supposed to do that wasn't in the pattern, is I put the tan or sand at the beginning of the arm to make it look like that had hooves like the feet had. But other than that, I followed the pattern. I was trying to be good. Now on the tail, it's supposed to have a little furry end, and I still need to do that, but I have to do it in acrylic because this, you know, this stuff will just shed and it'll just be little strings hanging there. But I just love the face on this cow. So this, and I believe Stacy said that she's releasing the pattern today for the cow. So she has the alligator, I do not remember his name, Parker the pig, and now Betty the cow. All with this same body style with the little, kind of like a shelf dangler where the legs can hang off. But I like the cow. I really do like the cow. I didn't like getting off track and having to give it a bikini wax. So that took a little extra time to make it. Other than that, if I would not have lost track of where I was at, it would have been a really quick make. So after I did Betty, I was like trolling Instagram, I guess you could call it. And I was looking for some other free patterns, something different. And I know if it's free, everybody's using it, but something different. And I have a bunch of them saved. And in my trolling, I came across another, what do you call it? A little chicken, bird, duck, whatever, in a frog hat and a strawberry hat. And this one is bigger than the one that I've made before, which I think are really, really cute, but they're really tiny. And these are more the size of the mallards and the chickens that I showed you on Wednesday. So I decided to give this pattern a go and see, you know, before I knew how the size was going to come out, to see how it would work up. So I started with using some of the Michael Sharn. And it called for 16 millimeter eyes. So I did it. And I'm not a huge fan of the 16 millimeter eyes on this. I mean, as I see it in the camera, it looks cuter than when I look at it head on. Maybe it's because it's more of a distance, but the 16 millimeter eyes, it's just like, that's all I see is eyes. So I decided to switch to Parfait Chunky and go down in size on the eye. So it's not really a huge size difference for the plushie itself, but I like the smaller eyes better on it. And I like this brighter green. This is the neon green, sunshine. And I'm not sure, I think this orange might be the orange I ordered from Hobie. But it's a nice orange. The tangerine seems like faded and washed out for some reason. Because, of course, the tangerine that I have is the not so soft, silky smooth that we all have grown to love over the years. But you got to use what you got, right? So I did the little frog, and I think I'll do a few more, and I'll stick with the smaller eyes. And then I did one with the strawberry hat. Not a huge fan of the way they did the little top, but usually the first time I make something, I pretty much try to follow the pattern. And then after the fact, I'll think of things to change. But I think I would change the little leafy part there. But yeah, so the frog chick, or a chick in a frog hat and a chick in a strawberry hat. And I used ruby, sunshine, tangerine, and you can see what I mean about the orange colors. So much brighter. That's why I'm thinking that that might have been from Hobie. I'm not sure. I don't remember. So I have those. Three chicks. But I'm going to do more with the parfait. But I need yellow. I am almost out of yellow again. And I really don't use yellow that often. But this past week or so I have. The sunflower turtle, those other chicks, the fish, tiny little bit in the Yeti. I've used a little bit of it. So, still looking on Instagram, I had saved a while back this little pattern for some Pooh characters. That's some fluff flying through the air. For some Pooh characters. And it had Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore. And Eeyore is my absolute favorite Winnie the Pooh character. I just really like Eeyore. So I decided to start with that one. Now, the pattern for these, the person, when they're showing their picture, they have their hand like this, and all three of these little guys fit in their hand because they use a 1.8 millimeter hook. And I'm like, nope, not happening. So I used my 5 millimeter hook with the Parfait Chunky, and I tried to do Eeyore. And I don't really think he looks like Eeyore. I did do embroidered eyes because nowhere on the pattern did it say insert the eyes until after it was all closed and stuffed and I'm getting ready to sew on the ears, and I realized, wait a minute, where do the eyes go? So I did some embroidered eyes, which I thought turned out halfway decent. So that put me in the mindset, okay, I want to make some stuff and use the embroidered eyes. But I'm trying to debate, do I want to do the Piglet and Pooh to go along with this? Because if, especially Pooh, was sitting next to this, people might know that it's Eeyore. I don't know. I don't know. Because it just doesn't look like Eeyore to me. Okay, so now I'm in the mindset I want to play around with these embroidered eyes. And so I'm still looking through Instagram. And I came across one account's Willow and Wild, I believe is the name. And she had some Pokemon Loveys. Well, of course, it calls for Bernat. And I gave most of my Bernat yarn to Sue, but I have a little bit left, but I don't have the colors. And even if I did, I can't use an 8 millimeter hook with it. I'll have huge holes. Not to mention it'll tear up my hands. So I wanted to do these Pokemon Loveys, and I figured, okay, I'll just double up my parfait. And I was able to use the 8 millimeter hook doing that. It's a little bit stiffer than I would like, but I think it turned out really, really cute. So it did call for safety eyes, but I totally bypassed the eyes and did my own embroidered eyes. So just tell me that they look great. So the first one that I did was a Charmander. He's got the little like flames on his tail. And it's a decent size. I should have done this before. Let's see. It's probably about 11 inches from the head to toe. And it's just cute. So those were the little eyes that I ended up putting on them. I looked up a picture of the character, and it had like the oval shaped eyes. So that is what I attempted to do. Now, it didn't have anything else on the face, like nose or mouth or anything like that. Just like that. The belly patch is made separate and you stitch it on. But like, you know, like this, it's easy. But I just took both ends of the same skein and I was able to make this with it doubled up in one skein, with one skein and a little bit left over. Now, if it had just been a single strand, this would be really, really tiny. But I think this worked out good. So she has like 4 of them listed. I did 2. And I want to do the Pikachu, but I need yellow. So, and I think the bulky, the number 7 yarn would be way too thick. And you'd probably need a couple of them, which would make it very expensive. So the next one that I did was Squirtle, I believe is the character's name. And he's like this. Now, it did call for putting nostrils on it. I had it on there, but I took them off because it looked weird. He looks just fine with just the eyes, especially since this would be for, you know, a little guy or girl. So he's done double-stranded with the 8mm hook with the Parfait Chunky, and it's light blue toffee, chocolate, and then cream on the edge. Now it called for white, but I used the cream because it's not as stark, and it kind of like went with the brown colors, I think. So you make the shell separate and you sew it on. This one, I sewed the arms on afterwards. But now that I've done one and the next one is pretty much the same, I went ahead and just crocheted these arms in. You know, you just had the color changes with this. So these are really cute. I do want to make the Pikachu. And the other one, I think, is Bulbasaur, however you pronounce it. I'm not up on my Pokemon. But they're just cute. And for a Lovey, and for it to be kind of a character, I'm hoping they do well. Now, what I would like to do is figure out how to take the safety eyes off of my Loveys that I made before from the Mama Made Minis book and just embroider the eyes on. The ones that I have sold of those did not have safety eyes. And because they're meant for such small kids, I need to take the safety eyes off. So I think I'm going to try and take a pair of wire cutters and get up underneath the eyes and try and snip them off and then dig out the backing. I don't know. I don't know if that'll work or not. Or I could just leave them like they are and make others that do not have safety eyes and then have them both ways. So I did those. And then I said, you know, let's do something a little easier on the hands. That's not doubled up. And I can just use, you know, regular hook. So I made another Mom's Stitchetti snake using the Michaels. This one I did a little different eyes on it than the other ones. And I love this, whatever this variegated that they have. It just looks so good on these snakes. Kind of makes it look scaly. So I did that. And I just, it's easy because once you get the head made, and you just keep going around till you get it as long as you want. And then you can make the tail and close it up. So, one pretzel snake. still on Instagram. And off the top of my head, I cannot remember the person whose pattern this belongs to, but they had some free patterns for dogs. A Rottweiler puppy, a Doberman puppy, a Dalmatian puppy, and there was another kind. So I tried. And this one I also gave embroidered eyes. Now it did tell me when to put in the safety eyes, but I wanted to work with the embroidered eyes. I think I'm getting a little better at it. Just tell me they look good anyways. So he doesn't really look like a dog. Kind of looks like a bear, and it could be the colors. You know, he's got longer ears, but they curl down. He's got this little stubby tail. This one required a lot of sewing, and it's very small. So for the amount of work, I do not think that I'll be making any more of these. But I gave it the embroidered eyes. Yeah, it was a lot of work, a lot of sewing, because like you crochet the legs in, at least one side of it, then you have to sew the other sides closed. You have to make this little like haunch or whatever that's called, the thigh. And then the little foot is made separate. So you sew the foot onto the thigh and then the thigh onto the leg. You got to sew the tail onto the butt. You got to sew the ears onto the head. You got to sew the muzzle or nose, whatever you want to call it, onto the face. It was a lot for the size of this, because I just don't think this would command a price for the amount of work that went into it. It's cute, but it looks more like a bear cub than it does a dog to me. So there's that. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 free patterns. Now I have 2 paid patterns. One I've had for quite a while. I made it one time before, way back when I first started, because I told you I'm going to revisit some of my older patterns. And when I made it, I tested it out with acrylic. And I sold that one. I wasn't a huge fan of the hair, but we're more experienced now, and it was a little easier for me to do. So that, but I did purchase a pattern yesterday because I want a dog. I mean, I have a dog pattern, and I made Clifford out of it. I haven't made any others out of it, and I still have Clifford. But I think if I used more dog-like colors with it, I might be able to sell some. But I thought that Crochet Grove's little dog pattern is just sweet. So in her pattern, there's, you can do a corgi. This is supposed to be a beagle. A Labrador. I want to say it's 4 different dogs. Don't quote me. But you can do them sitting or standing. Now standing, of course, there is less sewing. But I wanted him to be able to sit. You know, because when you display these things, the ones that stand, they don't stand. So you get the choice of making it a little bandana, a collar, a little dog bone, all kinds of stuff. There's like different shaped ears. So this one, I used toffee, cream, chocolate, obviously red, and that's the poppy red for the bandana. I just thought red would look really great with these colors, and it makes it stand out. I did use the eyelash discs again, but I had to do a little bit of face shaping. I had to pull the eyes in a little because I really do believe that those discs kind of distort how the eyes sit. And these were the kind of eyes that sit on top instead of sink in. So it wasn't quite as bad as the other ones. But there was still, like, it didn't want to sit right. Now, her pattern does not call for the eyelashes. That's just something that I wanted to do. But this was fairly quick. You know, making all the parts, but you do, again, you do a lot of sewing. You sew on the legs, you sew on the arms, you sew on the ears, you sew on the tail. The pattern calls to either using a felt nose or a safety nose. I did not have either. I mean, I have some safety noses, but not a big enough size. So I just embroidered the nose. And I don't know. I like this one. I think this one should do well. And I want 4 or 5 of her patterns. I haven't made all of them, but like I got a unicorn and I don't know. I'm just not thrilled with it, so I haven't tried it. I bought her pig, her flamingo, this one, the floaty patterns, and the flamingo has sold well for me. I mean, I've made 2 and I've sold both of them. So nothing ball busters, but each of them only went to one market and sold. I have not sold the pig and the floaty. And like I said, I didn't make the unicorn. But I think the dog will do well. He's just really cute. The last one that I did, and I finished this one up last night, I ran out of yarn. I was using Shell for the skin tone, which was the same color as the skin tone on the Hocus Pocus dolls. So I wasn't starting with a full skein, but I really, really thought that I would have enough. But you can't tell that I ran out. So this one is the pattern that I bought way back in the beginning. And I made it, the first one, out of acrylic. And it actually looked pretty good. But I struggled with the little fins on the bottom. This time I had no problem because, you know, we've gotten a lot of experience since I first started doing these. I did give her a little bikini top. I thought it would be bigger because I want to say this is about the size of the other one. Now, mind you, that's been a while. That was like, I sold it at the Christmas on the Farm market. I had 2 mermaids. I had that one that was acrylic, and I had one from Madeline Mako, and I still have that one from Madeline Mako. But keep in mind, I have not been to a decent market since December. They've all been, well, not all of them. For the most part, they've all been pretty poopy. The one at the school for the band fundraiser was decent. It was very short. It was only a couple of hours. But I think it could have been really good if it was a longer time frame. And then other than that, they've all been pretty... But anyhow, so we did the mermaid. And I used Shell for the skin tone. She's very pale. She doesn't get out in the sun much. I'm just not sure what other color in the parfait that would be good for a skin tone. Hibiscus pink, ballet pink, and this was awful to work with. And then a little mint green starfish in her hair. And I was debating on this one. I really wanted to do embroidered eyes, but I went with the safety eyes. Her head, to me, is a little wobbly. Her head is heavy. There's a lot of rounds, and it's 42 stitches wide. Her head is really heavy. But she's a little chubby. This is the original Mer Baby pattern. You've got a bunch of choices for the hair. I decided to do the one bun with the wig cap, but where I ran out was up at the top of the head. And I'm looking at the pictures and I'm counting rows and I'm like, I won't have to wait for a yarn order. I'll just finish it in the pink. And if it happens to peek through, it will look just fine because I was giving her the pink hair. So, one mer baby. And I think I'm going to make some more of these because this really did not take that long. And I would like to make a couple with the embroidered eyes. And now that I have refreshed my memory on how it was put together, I'll be able to feel a little more confident with the embroidered eyes. So, 'cause I really would like some choices this time. Not all safety eyes. You know, I want the little kids to be able to have something. So, I'm practicing. And just tell me they look good. That's all. Just tell me they look good. So, what color, and this is a serious question, what colors would you use for the skin tone in Parfait Chunky other than Shell, which makes her look very, very pale? She needs a tan. I don't know. I just don't know what color to use. Or maybe some Honey Bunny. I just hate to pay the prices for that. And I can't believe that I had to order more yarn. I still have so much here, but it's like you make, I don't know, just all of a sudden you start going through everything you have of one or two colors, and then you need to order more. So I hit up Hirschner's and made an order and did the 3-packs because it's so much cheaper. You figure 3 skeins on Premier's site at $5 a piece is $15. You can get them for $12 for $4 a piece, or you can order the 3-pack and you save an extra dollar something because you get the 3-pack for $10.97. It's the only way to do it. And you just watch for their shipping promotions. Like I got $1.25 shipping, and the only reason I knew that is because Sue told me that they had $1.25 shipping. I do not always check the promotional emails because I get so many of them. It's hard to keep up with. It is hard to keep up with. So I think I did pretty good with my makes this week. And I really, really do like these. And once my yellow gets here, I'm going to do Pikachu. And I'll probably try Bulbasaur. I think that's who it is. I'm just not really sure on like what color it's supposed to be. And it's doubling up the yarn. So, you know, I gave my hands a rest from doubling up those. But I really want to do those other ones and give these a shot. And then hopefully fix the other Loveys that I have made and give them embroidered eyes instead of safety eyes. And then, of course, Stacy's Betty is adorable. I mean, just look at that face. Stacy, thank you for letting me test for you and learn how to give a plushie a bikini wax. So, yep. Cute, cute, cute. So that's it. That's all I have. I know, it's a lot. I think it's a lot this time because it was more bigger items than just the small items. So I mixed in a few smalls, a few bigs, a couple loveys. This one so far is my favorite. I like this one too, but this one's my favorite. I think it's because it's so bright and colorful, and I'm usually more of a muted color type person. Anywho, I'm going to let you guys go and finish up my button orders and then see what other kind of plushie trouble I can get into. So I will see you in the next video.